welcome back to another episode of The Spirit Within. It's been a while since I've done one of these episodes, a little out of practice, and I'm kind of in a rush to do this one. I wanted to make this a holiday/Christmas dedicated episode for product that we have today. Like I said, it's been a rush to put this together. I wanted to do this, get it all done earlier so I wouldn't be under time constraint. The life just got in the way and whatever. But none of that's important. I'm gonna do my best. Like I said, a little bit out of practice, at the last minute together. But like I said, I wanted to get the episode done for a holiday, Christmas special or Christmas episode for the kind of character of this product what we have here. Before we go dive into the main part episode, just give you a little personal background of why I picked this product. It's because I have a personal experience with it. My first encounter was at a restaurant here in San Jose called Teskes Germanian restaurant. To me the name sounds Greek, but it's a German restaurant. It's kind of an upscale restaurant, a little pricier as far as the menu prices. We go there for birthdays and special occasions and things like that. So it's just a nicer place that we don't go there all the time, but for special occasions. During my first encounter with this Jagertee, it was at this restaurant. I was a bit cautious because it was something new to me, and I kind of ended up drinking it the way you're supposed to, which is to sip it, as opposed to my friends who decided to shoot it. Now, the reason why they decided to shoot it is because it came in a relatively short little glass. You could imagine something that's got this kind of fancy design, but it was shrunk down to something like this. So these two had a baby, it'd be this small, but with a fancy design. The waiter said that we would enjoy it because to him it reminded him of Christmas. So we weren't sure how to interpret that. So I'm sipping it and I'm enjoying it. My friends, they took a shot of it. They just shoot it down like a shooter. They regret it, not because they didn't like it. They did like it, but they regret it because it was so good and you were supposed to be sipping and not shooting it down. So I made the right call just out of being cautious. And the waiter's right. It basically tastes like Christmas in your mouth, hence the hat. So that's just my little intro into Jagertee. We're gonna go into the main part, which is specifically about STROH Jagertee. So some basic history, informational stuff about Jagertee in general. Jagertee is also known as Hunter's Tea. It's made by mixing overproof rum and black tea. Also, a lot of the pre-mixed ones will have added sugars or spices and other things like that. So it's a liqueur, not a liquor technically. So typically it's served during colder times in colder parts of Europe in the winter time. Apparently it's really popular with the tourists who go to the Alps, so a little bougie like that. And then another fun thing I learned when doing my research for this product was that there's a stronger version of it. Let me see if I get the name right. It's Jagertee, which, if I can believe the translation, it's known as poacher's tea. So now that I know that there's this thing called poacher's tea, I'm kind of looking forward and trying to track down that and giving that a try since this was so good. So hopefully it's the same thing, but I guess a little bit stronger. So that's some general information about Jagertee. We're going to talk specifically now about this specific brand from STROH. STROH is a brand that has a very popular rum. And actually other brands will use their rum to make the Jagertee. So it would have made sense for STROH to come out with their own Jagertee since other competitors are using their rum. The rum is best known for vanilla and a butterscotch kind of flavor. That's the notes that they're known for, if we can use kind of a wine term. So typically it is served warm or even hot and cut with water, warm water. Again, because it's kind of a cold environment drink, that's probably why they do that. It's not a hard rule by any means, but it seems when I'm in research it pairs well more with like desserts. After dinner you have like cookies or strudel. It pairs well with that. So now here's where we get into some kind of funny business. Supposedly the name Jagertee is protected by an EU regulation that's only in Austria. So it can only be called Jagertee if it comes from the nation of Austria. But in my research, I found an Italian brand that uses the term Jagertee. So I'm not sure if that information is inaccurate or if they changed the EU regulation or that Italian brand has some kind of special exception. I did try to look up the EU law to see what it said. The original site that it was on, they wanted to charge you to look that up. I'm sure there are free ways to find that regulation and go through it because it's probably got to be publicly available. But it's like, trying to find a needle in a haystack in the sense that you got to know, okay, it's EU regulation law 32.7 Section 7, blah, blah, blah. Because I was short for time, I really couldn't dive into that. So take that with a bit of grain of salt, just because it just seems like it's weird that it says the EU regulation is going to be called Jagertee if it comes out of Austria, but then I saw an Italian brand that has that. So who knows what the story there is. It does bring up something of a tangent that I have. I kind of just hate that idea that you have an alcohol that is like region locked. So for example, tequila can only be called tequila if it's manufactured and comes out of the state of Tequila, Mexico. So if you make the exact same process, exact same ingredients, and you just do it over in the next state over in Mexico or in the United States, well, you can't call it tequila, apparently. I don't know how they enforce that, but I mean, maybe it's just by common courtesy or some kind of international law. Same thing with champagne. You can only call it champagne if it actually comes from the region of Champagne, France. If you made it the exact same way, with the exact same ingredients, but you made it in Italy, you can't call it champagne. And I just don't like that. I just don't see the point. Now I know what some of these brands and people who would be for that would say, that if they're trying to protect their history and they're trying to keep the quality up, they don't want, something we call champagne and it comes from whatever, China, and they said it's going to lower the prestige of it and all that. So they're trying to protect the value of it and keep the quality high. Or it's more true that it's also part of just kind of like a marketing thing, like, oh, it's champagne or tequila or Jagertee. It only comes from this place, and that's the only place you can get it from. And if they didn't, lock it regionally down, then they might have competitors who can make maybe just as good a Jagertee or tequila or champagne from a whole nother place and at a cheaper or more affordable price. So when proponents say, hey, we gotta make sure we lock this down, I'm sure there's some truth to that they're trying to protect it so the quality is up there and that it's got that prestige and that they're protecting their history. But it's also just a way of blocking out competitors, I think. It's just, if you can only get tequila that comes out of the state of Tequila, Mexico, then it kills off, any competition from whatever, Australia or Mexico or Canada or United States or Ecuador, who can maybe make just as good a product for the same price points, or maybe even a better product for the same product, or even maybe a better product at a lower price points because of whatever. So that's just a little bit of a side tangent. I just want to call that out because at the end of the day, I don't see why Jaeger can only come from Austria, why champagne can only come from Champagne, France, and tequila and tequila. There are some reasons to argue for it, but I think in the end it's just not helpful to the consumer. So now I want to get into the specific history of STROHs and how that eventually leads to their product of Jagertee. The company is headquartered in Klangfurt am Wörthersee. Nailed it. It was founded in 1832 by Sebastian STROH. He started it in St. Paul in what is known as the Levant Valley in Austria. And as I mentioned, besides Jagertee, it's really known for its STROH rum. As the company grew, it would go on to gain recognition and awards and become sort of a well-known global brand. The official company website has a really good and well-crafted timeline of the company's history that I would encourage you to check out. I'm just not going to read it to you verbatim because that would be kind of boring, pointless. Just check it out. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check that out. Just keep something in mind that because this timeline is put out by STROHs, and it is very well made and really nice, they're only going to be hitting the high points and then, scrubbing out any kind of low points, obviously. So that's just something to keep in mind. This timeline, though, is very good. It starts in 1832 and it goes away to 2022, so fairly recently. And then I just want to give you some few miscellaneous tidbits about STROHs before we get on with the rest of the episode. At first, STROH rum was not really rum because they didn't use sugar cane or molasses, and they might have substituted beet sugar for their version. Hence, they called it an inlander rum or domestic rum. So online, there's a bit of back and forth arguments about whether or not STROH's rum is really rum because of that early history of using a substitute instead of sugarcane or molasses. But since the 1990s, they have switched it to using sugarcane or molasses-based recipes. So I guess it should be considered real rum if that's the thing that distinguishes between, authentic rum versus not authentic rum. Kind of goes back to the whole one region can call it this, whatever, another region can't. guess it even comes down to specifically you got to use this specific ingredient and kind of substitute that. But since the 1990s, they have been using molasses and sugarcane, so it should be considered, in my opinion, real rum. But then because of that early recipe that might have used sugar beets, that's kind of tainted their reputation among, I guess, rum enthusiasts. But at the end of the day, it's still a very popular product, still rum, it's a very popular rum. And since they had such a popular rum and it was used to make Jagertee for other brands, because they had a really good product there, it was naturally for them to think, well, why don't we just make Jagertee too, since everybody's using our rum as the base. And there really isn't much more to say about STROH in general. I mean, they have the rum, and from what I can tell, they have the Jagertee, and I didn't see any other products on that I could tell. Again, if you check out the website, they have a good timeline that's going to give you more in-depth history, which is probably going to be better than me just regurgitating it to you. I think the next thing to do is just to open this bottle up and try it out. Hopefully it's as good as the one I had at the Teskes, and we'll see. Let's get on to the review section. Alright, so let's get down to the review. We'll start off with the packaging, or the bottle in this case. Now there is a little bit of a damage there, that's my bad. It was fine, like I said, I've been wanting to do this for a long time and have it stored away, and I think as I was moving things around it kind of scuffed the label, so I'm not going to hold that against it. But with that being said, I just think this labeling is just okay. I mean, it's not bad by any means, but to give you a little story here, when I went to go find something, a Jagertee for this video, it's not like I had like a lot of shelf worth of options. It was just a few other options I think I could have considered, like maybe 2 other ones. And I went down to my local Bevmo to get this, and on the Bevmo sites it kind of tells you where you can find it. So I went to that area and looked on the shelf. I couldn't see it anywhere, so I had to get help. And you know, the employees there got the device that tells you down to like a coordinate right down to the what shelf to look there. And there it was, and I looked past that so many times and just hadn't seen the name and didn't notice it. Part of it is that it's a little hard to see here. I'll maybe do a cutaway shot where the term Jagertee is just so dark and it blends in and doesn't stand out. So as far as sitting on the shelf, unless it's just right in your face so you know exactly where to go, kind of just disappears. I don't know if maybe this color scheme has to do with Austria, maybe it's some kind of national color, this orange and green. It's very muted. It's not ugly by any means, but it doesn't attract you as far as when you look at it. If you go see it on a shelf, not a bad bottle, but kind of bland, to be honest with you. So kind of probably give that somewhere like an average 3 out of 5 shots. The other thing is that I do another cutaway here, but I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to open this at this point. If you're looking at what I'm showing you on screen now, it's got this kind of overly complicated metal frame thing. I mean, I don't know. I just like things that are simple and are easy to get to. And this is kind of cool, but I also feel it's just kind of unnecessary. Probably gonna see me struggle here. Okay, this part comes up. I should cut this ribbon thing here. Okay, maybe that's holding it down. Yeah. Okay. So once I broke the seal there. It's not hard, but it's possible. But it's like I'm not supposed to be charming, but unless you're doing some kind of presentation for like a fancy restaurant, I'm like, just give me a bottle that I can get in and out really easy. So I'll say that's just a 3 too, just because my personal preference is something easy to get in and out of. Not that this was ended up being the hardest thing, but it's like overcomplicated. I mean, it's almost mechanical. Aroma. So another quick story. I got these for Christmas gifts last Christmas. That's how long I've had these. My friend did warn me that in the bottle, it's so concentrated, it didn't really smell good. I'm sure it's gonna maybe smell like wine needed to breathe. So I'm breathing a little bit here, but let's give it a whiff here. No, to me it doesn't smell bad at all. I mean, it smells like, so far, like the one I had at Teskes. Appearance in the bottle, it's nice. It's got a cool amber color that you can kind of see through. Again, part of the reason why it's probably not why you need a better labeling, because the liquor is so dark. You need something to contrast that, and this label just kind of blends in with the liquor, so that's not. So as far as how it looks, yeah, it's kind of when you catch in the light, it kind of helps with the whole idea of Christmas and cold weather, so I give that a 4. So flavor is obviously my favorite part. I don't have any really great options for trying this out, so I'm just gonna use, like I said, a shot glass, just because it's usually a small pour anyways. Yeah, definitely tastes like Christmas. Can't be sure if it's the same brand that I had at Teskes. but it seems to be close enough. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Definitely, it's definitely not a summer drink by any means. It is kind of heavy and got that thick viscous feel to it. But it's colder weather out there. You're out whatever on the slopes, or out by a campfire and outside when it's colder outside. Either turn the room temperature or warm it up like people suggest. This is delicious. And it really does seem like Christmas in your mouth. For me, with that understanding that it's kind of meant for that colder weather and you're not going to be drinking this in the summertime, this is basically a 5. It's just so warm and cozy and it's so delightful. The mouthfeel, it is a bit heavy, but I think it's working in its favor this time. It's very oily. It's not going to show up on camera, but the oils are just clinging to the inside of the glass. It's got like, sort of reminds me of cinnamon Altoids. Very strong and sharp, and then mellows out really quickly. For the mouthfeel, I think it works just fine. I'll give that a 5 shots. The buzz factor, that alcohol level, I've had this a few times. I can't really say that I really caught much of a buzz on it. So liqueur, I would say this is probably a 3, which when you're talking about the buzz factor or the alcohol level, that's neither good nor bad. It's just my opinion, a statement of how strong it is. It's not particularly strong. You probably take quite a few of these to get you buzzed. And there's definitely better ways to do that if that's your goal. But if you're with something pleasurable, with friends and it's cold out, this is really, just makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It's definitely Christmas in your mouth. Overall, I'm gonna say a solid 4, just because the only thing that kind of pulls it back is the actual packaging and presentation. You might go looking for this on the store shelf. Everything else is pretty solid. I think the only thing to do now is to go and go to the mixed drink part of this. I'm gonna use a mixed drink that's actually provided right on the bottle of the STROHs. But it's kind of weird, because when you look at the ingredients and how they want it put together, it almost seems like the very opposite of its cold weather reputation. I mean, it's got pineapple and lime juice. It almost seems like they're trying to, besides just making it something that's popular in cold weather, they are trying to make it something that'd be enjoyable during hotter, warmer climates. So we'll give that a try and see how that goes. The name of this mixed drink is called The Hills Are Alive, and STROH provides it on the back of their Jagertee bottle. Let's start off with the ingredients we're going to need. The first ingredient we will need, of course, is STROH Jagertee. The next ingredient we need is orgeat syrup or almond syrup. I'm going to go with almond syrup. That's a little bit easier for me to say. Next, we need pineapple juice. Next, the recipe calls for fresh squeezed lime juice. Feel free to do that if you would like, but for my purposes, I'm just going to use this packaged lime juice. And finally, we are going to need ice. Again, like so many of these recipes, they don't really specify how much or what style of ice, so just use your best judgment. I'm just going with cubed ice because that's what I have available. We don't need a lot of equipment to do this mix, but we do need a shaker. You will want to measure things out accurately for this mix, so I'm going to be using my jigger, but you can use anything that measures out liquids in ounces, and that should do just fine. The mix doesn't specify what size glass to use, but judging from the amount of liquids used in the mix, you should be able to get away with using a small rock glass, but if you plan on using more ice, then I would recommend a tall glass. I'm planning on just using 3 ice cubes, so I should be fine with this smaller glass. I'm also going to suggest you have a stirrer of some kind. It's not part of the mix instructions, but I would keep one handy just in case you find your shake inadequate and you need to stir things up a little bit more. The first thing we need to do is add some ice to our shaker, since we'll be pouring everything into that over ice. The instructions aren't specific about how much ice to use in the shaker, so I'm just going to add in 4 ice cubes and hope that works out. Next, we want 1.5 ounce of STROH Jagertee, and just pour that into the shaker over the ice. Next, we just need 1/2 ounce of the almond syrup. After adding the almond syrup to the shaker, we next need 1 ounce of pineapple juice, the last ingredient we need to add to the shaker is a ½ ounce of lime juice, fresh squeeze if you preferred. After we have all of our ingredients poured over ice into the shaker, we need to secure our top of our shaker and give it a good vigorous shake. The instructions don't specify for how long to shake, so just use your best judgment. But I say if you were to do it for a solid 30 seconds, that'd be enough if not overkill. But then if you find that you didn't really shake long enough, that's why you would want to have the stirrer on hand. After you're done shaking all the ingredients, you next want to prepare your glass. In my case, I'm just going to use my standard 3 ice cubes. Again, there is no specific instructions on how to use the ice for this mix, so just go with your preference. And the final step is to strain your drink into your glass. And there is another instruction where you can add a lime wheel. I'm not going to do that because that doesn't really do anything for me, but if you wish, go ahead and garnish your drink with a lime wheel. And that is how you make the Hills Are Alive, which I suspect is more of a warm weather tropical drink versus a Christmassy winter drink. And we're back. And that is how you make what STROH calls the Hills Are Alive. It's what they provided right in the back of their own product here. As you can see from the ingredients and everything that's in, it seems like a totally different vibe than what Jagertee is normally known for. Where Jagertee is for popular in colder weather and reminds people of Christmas. These ingredients in this mixture makes me feel like they're trying to push it more of a summer drink, at least with this mix. I don't know if that's to do with the fact that since it's rum based and rum is warmer weather, Caribbean, and that early history where they weren't considered real rum until the 1990s. Maybe they're trying to kind of expand into a new way to sort of expand Jagertee into broaden it to other people who might not try it out. Because I mean, since it's more popular in colder weather, unless you live in a colder weather or you're in the Alps, you might not even know what Jagertee is. But if you can get exposed to it in a different way, in a different environment, then maybe you try it in other places. Just get to the review, and yeah, totally different vibe. It's, as far as appearance, it seems fine. Kind of reminds me of orange juice, basically. It's pineapple, almost something kind of, I don't know, reminds me of breakfast. It looks fine. I'll give that a solid 4. The aroma, it's definitely lost a lot of that Christmassy smell and vibe. Smells more tropical, but there's a little bit hint of the original Jagertee smell with the spice in it. But then with the pineapple, it's definitely got a more lighter Caribbean warm weather kind of feel to it. I guess the really important thing is the flavor. Wow. This is really good. Tasting it still has a little bit of that Christmas vibe because of the spiciness of the rum they have in there. I guess it's their vanilla butterscotch kind of base flavor of the rum. With the pineapple kind of washes over it, and it does take it into a more tropical feel. Yeah, like I wouldn't try Jagertee, especially warm or hot, during a hot summer day, but made like this, perfect enough for warm weather, but it's something different compared to other warm mixed drinks, warm weather mixed drinks, I say. The mouthfeel, it's much lighter, obviously, since it seems to be designed for a hotter environment. A lot of the heaviness is just gone. I say, judging it on those merits, it's doing an excellent job as far as not hanging on too long, just kind of refreshing your mouth and cooling you down and just being enjoyable but not hanging around too long. So I'll give that actually a solid 5. The buzz factor, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with this, but I would still say it's probably, again, it's not negative or bad, it's just it doesn't seem like a particularly strong drink. I mean, the only real source of the alcohol is still the Jagertee. Everything else is just flavoring to enhance and change the vibe of it. I mean, if you want something alcoholic but you're not looking to get too sloppy, this is pretty nice, especially if you're out on a hot beach or somewhere warm. I'm gonna say overall 4 4.5 shots. Might actually like this better than just straight Jagertee. It's got a little bit more going on. It's still got some of the original vibe, but then it's got this nice crispness to it. Crispness, not Christmas, crispness that goes over the top of it. Again, apologies for sort of the rough nature of this video. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done one of these, a little out of practice. I'm really rushing it so I can get this out for a sort of a holiday release. But with all that being said, I'm gonna bring this video to a conclusion. If after seeing this video you think you're interested in Jagertee, let me know. Or if you already have experience with Jagertee, I'm guessing it's probably more in a colder weather environment. Let me know what your experience is. But yeah, until the next time, enjoy the Spirits Within responsibly.